Hello, YouTube, and happy Thanksgiving. This is Kaiju Talk Radio. Gonna do another video on Andrew Ditch. This time he's apparently happy. I mean, that's one of the few things he's actually happy about in for never. So let's see what he's happy about.
Hello, YouTube. Andy Ditch here.
I just want to point out that he's starting to open up with that sort of opening statement, which usually draws in attention from people. But honestly, he needs to start figuring out how he's going to open up his videos, guys. Having stuff like that doesn't really brand you much. Whereas with me, I always go, Kaiju Talk Radio. That's how you guys know me. And that's how I want to play myself up as. But enough about that. Let's listen to what Andrew has to say.
I have a video I want to share with you. This is extremely important for me because I found a video that talks about herself being autistic, for one. For two, talks about how she can talk, but she also uses AEC to help her when she needs it. And she talks about some things that, maybe I could get help with how she worded it. Because when she talked about a few things in this video, one of them was how sometimes it could be too much anxiety for her.
Notice how Andrew tends to repeat the same things over and over again, as though he's trying to come up with something to tell himself at this point in time that he is telling himself that he is autistic. You see this repeated pattern in a lot of his videos that he goes off of. He says, maybe I could do this, maybe I could do that. Maybe. He always tries to employ that type of logic in a lot of his videos, which it's not the wrongest thing in the world, but at the same time, it sort of points out the usual issues with Andrew, that being that he exasperates his symptoms.
To be able to communicate, and that AEC helps her to be less anxious and have less frustration in communicating. I'm like, yeah, awesome. That's exactly how I see my world around me. And she also talked about how sometimes when she's talking, sometimes the words just disappear, she can't get the words out the way she wanted to. And when I explain this to you guys millions and millions of times, this happened yesterday with me, with my mom and me, and it's pretty sad that this is a struggle that everybody with autism deals with, not just, lower.
Okay, we're going to stop right there because I think the statement needs to be made once again. Just kind of remind people in the audience that Andrew Ditch does not have autism. There's been four different agencies that did an evaluation on Andrew Ditch, and all four of them said the same thing. Andrew Ditch does not have autism. He has a lot of other issues, don't get me wrong. He is schizophrenic, but he does not have autism. He does have malignance, I want to say. I can't really pronounce the word that well. Hell no, my luck, I probably have autism. Ha ha! Funny. But, no, it's just, he does a lot of these things because he wants to get something better in life. Like him going into a group home, he's not thinking about his family. It's never even in the question. Even looking at one of his videos with him talking about his mom, and he never brings up to his mom, hey, maybe we should take her out, do some stuff with her together. Just try to help her lighten the mood. It's kind of a shame, really, but it just kind of proves my point that Andrew really does a lot of these things for himself, not for other people.
Functioning people, low functioning meaning more severe autistic people. But I just wanted you guys to know that it is an everyday challenge for me to communicate and to be able to express myself the way I want to be able to. And AAC does help me, and I know my speech therapist and stuff wants me to try to use it, but I don't know. Let me talk about this, guys, a little bit more with you guys.
Excuse me. One thing that I've noticed that Andrew rarely does, but it's a really common... Excuse me again. It's a really common technique that a lot of people use, especially when they get into a stutter that seems to work well. It's going in, taking deep pauses, and telling your audience what you're trying to communicate. That's an example that a lot of people who have horrible stutters actually use. However, Andrew does not use this technique. And I think it's what screws him over.
Hello, my name is Millie. I am autistic and ADHD. Sometimes I need to use AAC to communicate.
Okay, so that was one of my AAC apps. So I just wanted to demonstrate that. That's what I use when I'm when I'm not able to speak. That's just a simple text-to-speech app. I mainly wanted to make this video because I don't know how many people have the experience of seeing somebody who has intermittent.
Something else I would also like to add on here that I don't think Andrew Ditch understands the concept of having people understand that this isn't his video. I mean, like sponsor. Yeah, that's what I should be going with. Sponsorship. Like, this is like a sponsored video that he is doing commentary on. He doesn't mention the channel's name or what they do for a lot of their stuff, and I think it's a shame. Shame, really. I mean, he goes and does a lot of these commentary videos, but never does say much of anything. I mean, y'all know what Andrew Ditch is. I mean, I show you guys the whole context right there on my phone. So, it's not like you're not getting any credit, buddy, but let's just be real. You don't want the credit when it comes from me.
Ability to speak. So, I think about it as, in terms of an analogy of something else. It's like an ambulatory wheelchair user. So, if you don't know what that is, that's a person who, I hope I'm explaining this right, but my understanding is that it's somebody who uses a wheelchair like some of the time or most of the time, and then is able to walk some of the time, just depending on how their condition is affecting them that day and how much energy they have and that kind of thing. So for me, it's like that with speaking. So it's been like that my whole life, and sometimes it's to the point of selective mutism, which just basically means that in that moment I can't speak at all. Or then in a lot of other times, because of overload and shutdown, it just manifests itself as having a lot of difficulty speaking. And
so anyways, yes guys, the one of the big parts of having a meltdown with having autism is losing the ability to speak when you're overwhelmed.
That is true, but the problem is that you never, whenever you're on camera, you don't have a meltdown. What you have is called a temper tantrum. Like when you pour juice down your dog's dog food, you knew what was going to happen with your dog. That was a result of anger, a result of frustration. You also know that your family is going to be upset when you do some of these things.
How many times have you seen that with me? I mean, it's almost like a daily occurrence if you ask me, but
the only reason why it would be a daily occurrence with you is because you allow that sort of behavior. You do absolutely nothing to curb your behavior. And it shows more and more how competent you are as a person to be able to let that type of behavior get the best of you. And you throw these types of temper tantrums purposely because no one gives you an inch. Just like the incident with your coat. You had plenty of things available to you. If you really wanted to leave your home, you could have just got up, got out all the coats you could get, put them all together in one little bundle, wear it, and then head outside and never be seen again. But you didn't do that. So that's pretty telling as to how some people should see you. Let's continue.
I mean, here's a question I want to ask you guys. Everybody feels emotions, right? Everybody feels something emotionally, right?
Andrew, how about you get to the point?
Am I right about that, people?
How about you get to the point?
So what's the big deal of somebody having an emotional breakdown, regardless of what you think your diagnosis is or isn't?
The big deal is how you've handled the result of your actions. The big deal is the fact that you harm those around you in your home because you didn't get your way. That's why people dislike you. That's why I hate you. Because you do this for no other reason than to get your way. It is human nature to see these types of things from people. Maybe at one point in time it was a natural instinct. But now it's just a new way of life. Thank you guys for checking out my video. This is Kaiju Talk Radio. Signing off. And ciao for now.